Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fan Friday. It's Rachel here with the lovely Melissa Neely,
Hello.
who is the owner of Beat and Briar. And she's a psychic medium and she is a shamanic practitioner and she does a lot of other stuff, channels multi galaxies. And I can't even tell you what all she does because I don't even know what all she does. And I'm super excited that she's here joining me in my home, which is super exciting. So,
Yeah, you missed the whole geek out when we went through her crystals and books, and I'm adding books to my cart, and she has it. So exciting. So
yeah.
her room is definitely high energy, which is good.
Yeah. So, Melissa.
I know it's gonna be fun.
I can't even take it. Okay. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about kind of your spiritual awakening and the path that you're currently on? Only because it is exciting. I do feel like people kind of like to know how you got started and where you're at right now.
Sure. So I've had the gift of sight from the time that I was little. One of the first memories I have is my grandpa showing up in my bedroom and saying that he had passed away, and then waking up my dad, and then that was the night he got the same phone call after I'd been downstairs to let him know that his dad had passed. So
And how old were you?
I was maybe 8 or 9 years old.
Wow.
Like I was little.
Wow.
Because I didn't know what dead was. I just
Right.
know that he was see-through, and are my parents gonna look like that? Are my friends gonna look like that? Like I didn't understand. And then I was raised, very Catholic, still have my Catholic background. But then it was about 10 years ago that I used to have a lot of anxiety and I wasn't paying attention to messages or things that were happening. And then about 10 years ago, I went through some stuff in my life, and it was like the geo that broke open. Woke up from this dream and I saw this, what looked like this shamanic lady, and she had white hair. And she said, "I am you, you are me, and you are wasting my talent." And she was pissed off. So I was like, okay, well, what's that about? And then the next day I had a reading in Maine with a lady named Jules. She was a medium. And she's like, "So how was that dream last night?" And that's when I was like, okay, I really have to get, into this and what's happening, how to control it. Control is maybe not the right word, how to refine it, how to understand it, how to turn it off, how to turn it on, how to turn it up.
How to set boundaries.
Oh yeah.
Protection.
Protection I'm good at. Boundaries I can still work on a little bit. But
keep real.
It's really the trust, faith, and a little bit of pixie dust, I suppose, that I just trust what I get because I got to know my guides. And so much of it, I'm a scientist by day. So the first ghost that I had in my house, they would move stuff in the kitchen. So I covered my entire kitchen counter in flour, determined to see what animal was moving stuff around. There wasn't an animal. I just saw where the canisters had been moved around and, things had happened. So I've definitely come a long way since then, but it's just really about, for me, it was reopening to those gifts that I already had.
Do you feel that from the time that you were 8, 9 years old, you saw your grandfather, to when you kind of had this amazing experience with your future self coming to you, did you feel like you had to turn off some of those gifts or not be tuned into them?
I didn't have anybody to explain them to me. I didn't have anyone to tell me what it was. When you're raised, religious background, you're afraid that everything is dark or evil or it's going to get you, kind of a thing. So I really had to have mentors along the way to show me how to catch myself. I'm so big on protection.
Yes, she's very big on it.
The very first class I teach, and I do all kinds of stuff to make sure. So one of the things I told Rachel, and I'll share this. I don't always share all my protection tricks, but
we'll share some. Not a lot.
So I remodeled my house, and to get the new entry door in, there was kind of a friend of a friend. He's I know him better now, but he's a contractor. And he said, I'll put your door in for nothing if you can clear the house. So the next day he called me and he just said, when do you want your door put in? Wow. So it was kind of fun that, believing in it, seeing it, making it happen. So when I put the new door in the house, actually in the door frame where the insulation goes, I put crystals, I put sage, I put salt. That way, when I read for people and they're coming in the house, it's kind of a permanent way of clearing, that whoever's coming in, all their stuff, gets taken off that's not good for them, the highest vibrational kind of thing. And that way, when they enter, it's only the good stuff that's coming in.
It's almost like an energetic vortex that people get filtered through.
Yeah, and even the thresholds, I was telling Rachel, a lot of people will salt and sage them. I picked mine up, because they're just little wood things. And then I slip some crystals underneath. So depending on what room you're going in the house, I put different crystals. So you're either being cleared or energized for entering into the different rooms. So yeah, really big on protection.
Awesome. So I know you wanted to talk about embolic.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so that's just something that's coming up on February 2nd.
Woo-hoo!
It's part of the Circle of the Wheel. If you follow, I do a lot of Celtic, but I get anything, I don't mix my pantheons, but I've seen the Egyptians, I've seen the Celts. Some things I just have to figure out, what are they? And usually when there's a new guy that shows up in my living room, I'll be like, okay, who are you? What do you have? Well, yeah. Well, I say, what do you have to teach me? And then have a conversation to figure it out.
Yeah.
So Bridget is somebody I've always really identified with.
Yeah.
So it's also her feast day for February 2nd. And what I love about her is she was a goddess, with the pagans, and she's also a Christian saint. So that's also kind of a nice bridge for me with my Catholicism background and the path that I have now with the deities and as teachers. So I have a couple books that if you're into Brie, Tending Bridget's Flame, this is a good one. Like reading this one, she showed up a bunch. I was able to see her to get more out of it. And then this one as well.
Cool.
Yeah, this one's good too. But this one's all about Brie and her time coming up. So
and what we'll do is we'll make sure to when I post the video, I'll post these books in the comments as well, so you don't have to write it down right now if you're interested in picking them up.
So I do a lot for getting ready for her day, and it's the welcoming back of the light. Back in ancient Ireland, the UK, the Isles during that time, it's when you were kind of starting to get like milk and butter and things coming back in.
Yeah.
So, blackberries are another one of her things, and she's all about the place of the in-between. So that's another reason why I'm so about the doorway, because it's neither outside or inside, it's in between. When we see spirits or get messages, it's the place of the in-between. It's not here, it's not the other side, but it's in between. Bridges are in between places. Cars are in between places. You don't think about it, but you're kind of floating in air while you're driving your car. You're not on the ground and you're not totally in air. So yeah, mirrors can be a little tricky though. Like
I'm just asking, I don't know.
Yeah, no, mirrors can get a litlittle crazy, So yeah, the other side and that's all kind of crazy in between. So
because you do a lot of work in the in-between. Yeah. Even in the fog, you said it's an in-between.
Like if you just are having trouble connecting, figuring out your gift, go sit in the fog, and it's a lot easier to get messages, images, scents, smells, whatever sense that you're working in, and then being able.
Why would you say that it's so easy to connect in the fog?
So because you're in the in-between world, you're in the doorway of the other side. That's really what it is to be in the place of the in-between. If we went all the way over, our physical body wouldn't be here. So we really are, when we're communicating with spirits, or the way I see it is we're standing in that doorway of the in-between to have the conversation. So whether it's somebody that's passed away or the angels, I just picture the doorways are a little up above, kind of for how we see things. So I just think that's an easy way. So if you're trying to get started and your things aren't working or it's not easy, sit in the doorway of, one room to another, and it might get a little bit easier for you as well when you're trying to connect.
That's such a good tip. Thank you. I love that. That's awesome. Has your Catholic background ever been a hindrance for you?
It has, because I I didn't know how to understand what I was seeing and, you know, what was happening. And I kind of had to learn how to make peace with it. You know, I was scared at first. Am I supposed to be doing this? Is this the right thing to be doing? There's a lot of opinions on, you know, religion and how does this all play into it? But then, and I prayed that if I'm not supposed to have this gift, and if it's not something that's of the best good, because for me, I do believe in God, and that's my highest place, you know. And when I see people like Bree, or maybe it's Horus, they're teachers to me. They're deities. You know, other people have worship for them. I just see them as teachers, and how can I help make things better?
Right.
So during the last couple of years reading for other people, I've had 3 people tell me that either after their reading or after they thought about it, just messages from their loved ones, they've decided not, they were thinking about suicide, and because of the messages that they got, they decided not to. So for me, that's, you know, that's something that's really
profound.
positive. Yeah. And then like the ending that I do for, I mean, there's a lot that I do to get prepared to make sure everything is safe. But one of the last things that I say is, you know, Christ before me, behind me, to my right, to my left, above, below me, and within me, surround me with your infinite love, divine protection, and wisdom, so that I might be of service to others, and may only love go out and only love go in. So I really try to keep that, that positivity and that divineness and everything.
You can feel that energy. You said that. Like,
yeah. Yeah. And I mean, when I say Catholic, you know, background, my great aunt was, one, I forget the name, if it's Mother Superior, her correct title, convent. You know, I have family that are in the, you know, priesthood. So yeah, it's been a way to find my balance. And again, that's the reason why I really like Bridget, because she also had a way of finding that balance with her background and kind of how she's emerged. So good question. I get it. I mean, get it a lot. And I know that's something that a lot of people,
I get it too. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in Jesus? Yeah. Do I think I'm Christian? Yes. I believe in religion. I also believe in blending together multiple thoughts and multiple disciplines together to get to my truth and where I'm going, you know.
But the other part of it is I also find that my Catholic background gives a relatedness to people that are seeing and, you know, looking for a way to the divine for themselves, and however that might appear. So
I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, so I remember, because I wasn't Catholic, I was in sin all the time. So I had that push and pull for many years, like, well, you're in sin. Like, okay, thanks, I'm not, but whatever. So I'm Baptist. You know, let's see here. Anything else you'd like to say about that?
You know, just if you want more, I'll be posting some things on my website and on Rachel's too, for how to prepare. Perfect. You know, for, it's like the worm season's coming, so I salt the floors in my house after I clean everything. I make sure I sage, open the windows. I do things with, you know, coins for abundance. So oh yeah, I mean, you only have to do what you're drawn to. You don't have to do it all. I go overboard.
You overboard?
Yeah, no, ask Marisa. She's seen it a lot too. So
she's like,
I know, right?
And I'm like, no. Me too.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's all about doing what fits for you and your lifestyle and what you have time for and the intention that's behind it.
I love it. Energy follows intention. I'm really big about, sorry to cut you off, Brew.
No, you're good.
Set for intentions. For me, I'm really big on, I set the intention and I truly believe the energy follows it. So even if I'm like, I'm setting the intention that I'm using these coins and I don't physically get the coins, I'm still calling in that energy. So otherwise, energy follows intention. I'm lazy.
Well, and that's why I did the doorway thing, because I don't have time to remember everything every time to sage it.
No,
you know, before everything comes over. So I just have that nice constant cleaning cycle that happens. So
right. And I will say, like, when you go into our house for a reading, you do feel that, like, you feel like you're cleansed. I love it. It's like a waterfall. All right. Anything else? I know they the full was light language. Yes. Dun 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 dun.
I know. I was surprised on that one. But
soul portrait, because I know there's
Oh,
some in
yeah.
there. Hold
Yeah.
on, I'll be back. Keep talking.
So that's how I met, you know, a lot of people through Tony and Leah, who does the energy portraits, and there's light language written on them. So some people speak light language. That's the soul portrait. So the light language are like the symbols. These markings are not that, but these are light language. Yeah, and then up here too are also light language symbols.
Now you can read them.
I can.
So what I guess in your opinion, what do you feel like light language is?
To me, light language is a universal language for different star backgrounds, you know, whether it's Lemurian or Atlantean or Arcturian. It's kind of, you know,
Do you feel like they're soul's language?
they are, and they're symbols. Like, we've gone so far back kind of in communication that we have to use all these long words and paragraphs to describe something, when a symbol could do all of that. You know, you think of the Egyptian hieroglyphics, which sometimes shows up, or
I feel like you keep eyeballing this.
I do, I really like it.
Sorry.
No, I just like,
Look, guys, it's my soul.
good, a lot in there. Yeah, it's keys to memories, you know, and it's keys to ways of awakening, but it doesn't have to be written. Some people speak it. This might be going out there a little bit, but sometimes I think of it like the people that speak in tongues is different forms of light language.
Oh, I would totally agree. 100%. Yeah.
You know, some people it's just with their hands, you know, and with their moving, or my friend Deb, she does a lot with her hands and dance and kind of things. So that's a form of light language. It's just another way of communication.
Yeah. Would you say that you predominantly pick up one soul light language over others, or do they all just kind of be like, okay, I know this is Palladian, I know this is this, I know this is that?
Yeah, I mean, I figured out one with Leslie's that I was like, oh, I've never seen this before, and then I Google it, and it's, you know, because I'm told what it was, and like an Enochian language, and it's angelic language, and I never seen it, so I totally geeked out, super excited, and then I found it that it was really a thing. I mean, there's nothing more exciting and sad than when you think you've discovered something only to realize it was already a thing and somebody else discovered it, but hey, it's new to you, and you know how you got it. So, but yeah, even the doorway thing, like that came to me with Bree when I was walking outside, and then I read it in this book, and it kind of took the wind out of my sails, but yeah, so exciting. So yeah, light language, you know, I've heard people speak it, and when they're speaking it, I don't try to pick out like, oh, what dialect, if you will, is it? It's more of just what's being said and what's the purpose of it. And as soon as I start to hear someone speak, I'm like, is this good? Should I be listening to this? Should I not be listening to this? And then how do you tune it in, or to tune it out, you know, if it's not meant for you?
Do you feel like it's also vibrational healing? I feel like for me, I feel like the language is also a vibrational thing, and it kind of hits you a different way, like almost in your, you know, your spiritual energetic body, like how it's coming in.
Yeah, I think it works a lot on your soul star chakra. Nice. And kind of a blueprint, you know, if you get into sacred geometry, and like I said, you don't have to even fully understand it. There was somebody else's portrait that I had read, and I said, it doesn't matter what the symbol is. It's really just about putting your hand over it, and how do you feel when you're doing it? How can it help you with what you're doing? You know, and whether it's keys that you have to rediscover to move forward. Yeah, so, you know, Leah, she's great. I'm sure Rachel will have some of her information on, or ways to contact her. She's the one who does the portrait. I just help interpret what some of the symbols mean and how to use them.
And it's fascinating to hear her when she's like, oh, this is this, this is that, this is that, this is this, you're gonna do this, and I'm like, oh, like, that's a lot of information, my friend.
And like, I'm just channeling, I don't remember any of it. So.
I'm like, Rachel.
So I tell people, like, you have to write it down, you have to remember, because I will never remember. I have no idea.
No, what do you mean I have keys? I keep dropping them. What does that mean? What does that mean?
That was me picking on her when I said keys, because I do remember that she had keys, and the whole reason we're being held back is because Rachel hasn't figured it out yet, so it's her fault.
Okay, so this is the time to show that she's gonna leave. No, I was kidding.
Yeah, right. Bye. Kicked out.
Yeah, you. I guess, is there anything else about light language that you feel is pertinent for people to know? Can I just say one thing? I would say that people that feel drawn to it, there are books and there are courses and everything about light language. I wouldn't stress out about channeling it or being able to speak it, because like she said before, you can do it with your hands, you can write it down, you can sing it, you can dance it. Like light language is singular to you and to your soul and to how many other connections you have within the multidimensional place. So her light language may be different than mine, maybe different than yours. So don't put too much pressure on you to, well, she sings it beautifully and why can't, because you may be a totally different soul lineage that you're picking up on.
And I don't speak it. I just have a way of understanding it and kind of helping put it into words for each individual that I talk to understand. That's my goal, is to make it relatable to the person that I'm reading for.
Does anybody have any questions about light language? I don't want to miss out on anything. Because we may be, let's go on, and you have questions. I'm gonna wait 1 second.
Unmute or just do the chat?
I'll unmute. Or if you want to put it in the chat. You can take yourself off mute if you want to, if you have a question you want to ask. About light language. I don't think anybody has any more questions about light language.
So just some of the ones that I've seen are Arcturian, Pleiadian, Lemurian, Egyptian.
Which she said.
That's very Arcturian.
Yes. This is Creedite.
You're a little fuzzy when you have that. But yeah.
This is Creedite, and this is an amazing channeling crystal. And Ashley actually put me in touch with this type of crystal. I was like, I saw it, I'm like, I must have. Tony actually has some of these for sale in her shop, and they're really good for channeling.
Yeah, I can't around just go into that space. I can't think about anything else. And it doesn't really matter necessarily where they're from or how it is. Some people can get really bogged down on is this a sentence? Like, symbols aren't sentences. They're, if you see a stop sign, you just know what to do. You know what it means. It's not that you have to have a whole sentence or a paragraph describing it, but also think about the power of symbols. If you're in the middle of a field and all of a sudden you see a stop sign, you're probably going to stop, even though it makes no sense of why it's there. It's just our reaction, our innate reaction. Yeah, and that's what I think a lot is with light language. It's just very old and very new language at the same time. So, and I think it gets the light language term from light being star, and how the light reaches us and how we are light, and it is light at the same time. But you can go into Celtic symbols. That's a different type of light language that they have on some of the old cemeteries that you'd find, overseas, or just there's symbolism everywhere. So it's all really based on light language and people's interpretation of it. Yeah, right.
So, let's see here. So we're about halfway in right now. So I don't know if you guys want her to talk about shamanism, or if there's anything else that you want to talk about before we get into our special vote. Anything else you probably feel called to talk about something?
Well, I'll just mention a little bit about shamanism because it almost had it with the votes. So I have taken the core classes of Sandra Ingerman's with Barb.
Amazing.
At Willow Tree Wisdom. I love those classes. I love them because you go into a place of in between to get your messages, to understand, power animals, and that's stuff that I do every day.
Yeah.
I'm always working with my animals. Drumming, what I love about drumming, okay, here's the science part of me, is that when you're doing the drumming that you listen to with the shamanic, it puts your brain into the delta wavelength state, same state as when you're sleeping. So you're basically dreaming while you're awake, and you can get messages that really help yourself. There's really nothing that you can't find out for yourself if you're willing to do the journey work to get there. There's a lower world of power animals, totems, elementals, the middle world. The middle world to me is a lot more of spirits on the other side. So that's how I do communicating with people who have already passed on, or if you have to do soul retrievals. And I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff out there, but there's books on all of this, or we can always talk more about it later. And then, there's the upper world, which is more like Rachel does a lot of the ascended masters and angels and tuning into them. So that's kind of the 3 layers. You can also go, is it conscious, subconscious, the unconscious, with yourself? I mean, everything's in 3s, and it's all relatable, just depending on what speaks to you the most. I've also studied with Jane Burns, the Celtic shamanism. So what I like about that, she goes into the fog. That's how you begin your journey of seeing, versus, the tree with more of the Sandra style. So now the second I'm in the fog, I can start getting my messages a lot quicker. Yeah. So we should. That would be so much fun.
I'm really not kidding.
Or just on a bridge, or just whatever, doorways, the places of the in between. We'll get you there. We'll do a little baby one over a creek or something. So I
been going off the bridge in a previous lifetime. I know.
I'm just like, oh, okay, sorry. Don't you feel like there's so much coming in?
there's a lot. Yeah, we can do bonus now.
Does anybody want a reading? A mini reading? We both are open.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to come off mute, if you want to have a mini reading. Oh, you're a lady.
Yeah.
You want to start?
I do.
Yeah. Okay, come off mute. Do you have a question or anything?
Bring up the picture.
Oh, sorry. I'm going. Who's gonna say? I know.
I know, like and hopefully, like,
I'm gonna.
everyone gives permission, but like Frank, you have so much stuff going on behind you. Like, it's fun. You have a lot of relatives stopping in to say hello.
Okay, let's. I'm gonna take us off the spotlight. So the one thing I will say is that this is being recorded. So if you do not feel comfortable having this shared, because I'm gonna be sharing it in my Facebook group, on my page, everywhere, don't get a reading.
Yeah, and I'll just, give you, like, if you have something specific you're looking for. Even when I do readings for groups, I never read anything that's traumatic or inappropriate, or I ask, I have a padlock rule. So when I start, and I'll have this, you all do this now, if there's something that, you don't want me seeing, just picture a little padlock over top of it. So a gym padlock. The first time I did this, I had somebody picture, those old Oldsmobile cars where you have to like move the thing on the trunk, and that's the lock to get the key into the trunk. I had somebody picture that, and then it turned out like her cousin had died and been killed and was in a trunk and this whole thing. So now I'm like, gym padlock, please. So
start with her.
yeah. Right.
Take yourself off mute.
She is. Oh yeah, you're back on mute, Reese. Okay.
And then I'm gonna put, where is she? We lost her picture.
Mercury. She'll come back. All right, Reese will come back. There she is.
Sorry, I
Well,
couldn't.
oh, sorry, you're good.
And then if I pick up on too, you don't mind.
Oh yeah, no, jump in. That's the
Okay.
way we work.
All right.
You have
Everything you were
anything
trying to-
specific?
We're talking to you.
Yeah.
We're talking to
Okay.
you. Buckle up. Press one. Okay, I'm stopping.
No, it's
Oh, I
Okay.
always like to hear from my dad. I don't know if, but you know how quiet he can be.
I do. Let's see if you get him. I know him a little bit, only from spirit. But
I feel like there's somebody that's coming in right here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's your dad or not. For me, I'm getting. Wait,
I know who it is. This is fun. What are you getting? No pressure.
we might get different things.
No, I'm like reading you as you're reading her, so it's fun. Like I already know who you have. It's not your dad, but it's somebody.
It's not your
dad.
Really?
It's this.
Wait,
Oh, or we froze. Did you see it?
we froze.